Have you guys heard Antarctica? Everyone knows Antarctica to be South Pole, you know, cold all year around, and flowers are now found blooming in, you know, the tundra that's known as Antarctica. So we have this article here. Flowers are blooming in Antarctica, and it's making scientists seriously worried.
Makes me sad.
Yeah, that's horrifying. Also, scientists have been worried for, it's like documented 100 years.
Yep.
So it's just maybe some more people are listening now.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. You know, we've had, I think, the hottest day ever. Recorded history was a few months ago. Let's talk about this, right? This is another sensitive subject. Global warming, is it real? Is it just, you know, Earth shifting? I'll just open the floor up.
Yeah, global warming is real. And there's scientific proof that like we as a human society have definitely contributed to it. I know that there are ebbs and flows, and like our you know, there was an ice age however many millions of years ago, and yes, temperatures change. We're contributing to it as well. And also we're contributing to like the degradation of our environment that was quite pretty. And it's kind of frustrating to hear that some people just decide not to believe that and not to see it, especially with like all of these ridiculous hurricanes and tsunamis and earthquakes and storms that, you know, we'd see like once every couple of years growing up, and now we see it once a quarter, and like people are...
I often tell people, if you have children, your children's children will not have a planet to live on at this rate. That is a scientific fact. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a scientist. I'm just going by the learned people out there who are scientists. And we know that for a fact. Until we get the three major polluters on this planet to have a concerted effort, China, India, the United States of America, to really take the bull by the horns and make some politically controversial and, quite frankly, probably decisions that will put themselves out of office. Mm-hmm. Until we do that, we can have 50 million people on this planet buying Teslas or whatever the EV is of the moment. It's not going to make a difference. We will make ourselves feel better because we're doing our small part. But until the major polluters on this planet come together for the good of the planet, right? Make some politically unpopular decisions. Mm-hmm. We are on a train track headed down the road for, I'm not going to say extinction, but it's not good.
Sure.
Yep.
It's not good.
Sure.
I just started reading a book called The Good War. It's and I'm blanking on the author. He's Canadian too, and I feel so bad. He is drawing parallels between how Canada behaved in the Second World War and how, you know, that kind of like rallying as a whole society was, I mean, it was not overnight, but it was like very radical, it's very different thinking. And those kind of parallels that can be pulled from how we behaved in World War II can like need to be applied now for the climate crisis. It's just, there's nothing tangible that you can like walk outside and see like, oh my God, this is going to make me act immediately. Like you're not seeing a missile fly by. Mm-hmm. So it's not, it's not tangible. Like the tree is still there across the street that you grew up, you know, watching it grow with you. Mm-hmm. So that, like, that's where the challenge is just getting people who don't see these events every day. Like if you live in Miami, like you're flooded constantly, you have hurricanes constantly. Like how can you not see that things need to change? That humans
caused the acceleration of
the you know, they're contributing and I think like corporations can do all they want as well, but at the end of the day, like oil and gas is you know, there's some pretty powerful lobbyists out there that are backing, you know, our governments, and that there needs to be a radical change. Like stop letting people buy your campaigns and your, you know, your 4-year tenures. And but how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, and this isn't doomsday talk. We have scientists, the finest minds on this planet in climate ecology, telling us what's the magic number? 1.5. If we go over 1 and 1.5 degrees,
1.5, yeah.
right? We are doomed. Well, guess what? We're close to that.
Yeah.
We are very close to that.
When
if
flowers
not
are growing in
already on that
Antarctica.
trajectory.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like, you know, I'm just howling in the wind here that if the government forced us to do something, well, you know what? I would probably be agreeable to that, regardless of how dire it was. But it's a matter of everybody having to do it.
Sure.
Right? It's not a matter of letting the BPs and the conglomerates out there escape, because frankly, they're a major reason why this is happening. Right? So it's political will. It's political will and the stomach to do what's politically unpopular that nobody wants to do. Period.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, go
Sorry,
ahead.
one more thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I read somewhere that it was BP that actually coined the term carbon footprint.
Oh yeah. It's an oil and gas
to almost
term.
put the onus back on us.
Yes.
And to your point, yeah, it absolutely has to be a top-down approach, but it's kind of silly the way they kind of like make it seem like it starts at the grassroots. Like,
Well, it's the same with recycling.
Start chipping in, guys. You know, do your part. You know,
It's
roll up your
always on the
sleeves.
consumer. You figure it out by yourself. You let us know when you've done that.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the solutions are there.
Yeah, I mean, well, like you said, the lobbyists are
Yeah.
pushing hard to like ensure that like oil interests are secured. So, yeah, unless politicians want to completely alienate their bases and just sabotage their careers for the sake of humanity, I don't think.
That's the thing.
I don't think we have those types of people in office, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because,
And that's not the way our
heroes.
political system, the democratic
no.
political system is not built to accommodate that kind of emergency thinking, shall we say.
Perfect.
Unfortunately.